Hi, today is April 21st, 2020, and I decided to do true crime tarot here in this reading, and it is on whatever I can get regarding the Woodlawn Jane Doe case. I think it was from the 70s. And it's a very interesting case. She has not yet been identified. Go ahead and Google that if you want to. Another rabbit hole. If you're interested in true crime. She was really young. And I've done a few preliminary readings on her, and I got what looked like somebody that was in a time of wanting to be more of a little bit of a grown-up. You're getting into your teen years, and they believe that she was between the years of 15 and early 20s. My reading earlier showed she would be more in the teen area, but rather than rehash everything about my prior reading, I'm going to go ahead, do another reading on her, and see what comes up. See what comes up as to her background. It was thought that she could have come from Puerto Rico or Colombia, and that there was a possibility that she had lived in on Ford Street there around Boston, Massachusetts. So there you go. There's not a lot to go on, so this is what I like to jump into, kind of that a lot of readers I know when we say I don't want to know too much, because just some basics so you have context. Oh, and here's some more context. One of the things that was found, her body was found, was that she had a high amount of chlorpromazine, which is also known as thorazine, given to her. She was wrapped, her body, in very low count cotton sheets, typically known to be used in institutions, and unfortunately she had also been sexually violated. This poor kid. So what else? Just some basics here. I did pick up in the reading prior that she had problems with feeling numb, with feeling depression, and there's a theory that she could have been someone who had undergone treatment in an institution for mental health, something along those lines. I think that's a possibility, just with the reading that I did that I didn't record. So forgive me for 3. Hey, I want to keep these like 15 to 20 minutes, so you're not only half watching the videos. Okay, so I think those are the pertinent details. She did have a homemade looking tattoo that looked like possibly JP, which they may think has connection to Jamaica Plain. They're in that area. So without further ado, let's go ahead and look at this young lady out of hello, Woundback. Pardon all the background noise, etc., etc. Thank you for all of you who are subscribing and who have maintained your subscription and are interacting in the comment section and being respectful and asking really interesting questions. I really, really appreciate it. I know that sounds really corny, but it's so appreciated. And just a reminder, please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. Really helps us creators content here that you enjoy popping around to get our channels to unlock more things that we can do with it. And currently I really want that discussion tab, but I have to have 1,000 subs, and I think it's at least for that. And then if I want to get monetized, which I don't know, we'll see. I would definitely put a lot of that toward, I'm disabled, but I would still want to put half of whatever I got toward charity. That's just how I am. Reputable charity too. But you need, I think, over 4,000 hours of watch time. They have all these little things that you have to meet to unlock more that you can do. That's okay. It's part of the process. Not just the goal of getting there. So okay, so ancestors, spirit of truth, the spirit of justice, spirit of this young lady who is known as the Jane Doe Woodlawn, or Woodlawn Jane Doe. What can you tell us about her? What can you tell us about her? How is this young lady end up in this circumstance of losing her life in this very peculiar way, and this very violating and violent way? What can you tell us about her, please? And whatever she wants to share. Poor darling. Okay. Sorry. Oh. I have to drink my buckets of water. Okay. And well, I only have 1 cup of coffee a day. Okay, so right away, in the card that covers her atmosphere, I was just, there we go. Sorry, folks. I like to get that. And you know what? I am a lip glossaholic. If I don't have a certain amount of don't mean to interrupt the thing, but if I don't get a certain amount on, and I like to keep my lips in condition, I don't want them to get chapped, and where you're biting them and stuff. You can also get a little lip scrub, and if you don't have anything fancy schmancy, your toothbrush will do, and rinse it well afterward. If you end up having all those uneven patches with skin on your lips from having a cold or whatever. Alright, just a little tip if you didn't know that. Now they have a lot of over costly products that not everyone can afford to do that. So, back to, okay, wound back. I'm being chastised. Back to the 6 of Rods. This is the environment that covered our young lady here. And I don't just like to call her Woodlawn. It's the name of a cemetery I know of. So I would rather refer to as the young lady. What is in that environment is someone who is demanding or wanting a lot of attention. This is receiving attention from others in your locale, or even if you're not living in a really big populated area, there is some standing out, there is some repute, there is some recognition that covers her environment with this. It could be that whoever is connected to her death and doing this to her has some sort of standing in their community, or did. Okay? That's a thought. Now, what crosses, or she could have even been well liked, even, let's say. It can be as simple as that in the neighborhoods that she grew up prior to wherever she was. All right? We have to see the surrounding cards. Now, what crosses her is the Ace of Cups. This is a new start where relationships are. There's a lot of emotion. These are difficult for her in this position. Okay. Can we get a warmer light, or is that just cold? All right. Me and my light fixtures. All right. Okay. Anyways. So that's interesting. And I'm feeling like this is a narcissistic type of personality because they draw a lot of energy from the reaction of others adoring them, of others paying attention to them. I am not saying that that's a trait that this young lady had. It's possible. She could have been very thirsty for attention. Okay. That's also a possibility, especially when you're a teenager and if there's trouble at home, or when you get in your teens, it's such a heavy time. At least mine were. I was so happy to leave that period of time. Not the. Some people have a really great time, and more power to them. But that was not me. Okay. So we see this being able to release emotion. There's something there that's crossing as some kind of a problem, a challenge. To maybe give someone in her environment a claim, or to get a claim for herself, recognition for herself. Could have wanted to be popular. Three of Cups. So this is a feeling of a peer ring. And I feel like this is peers wanting to be, I think we're getting a little bit of a background on the type of person she was, the type of teen she was. She may have had even possibly 3 close friends at one time. And I feel like this is a basis card. There's socializing. This is a card of being someone who is social and at least enjoying the company of maybe a small group of people. And having perhaps a good reputation with this smaller group of people. maybe. Let's just carry on. Crowning card is the Eight of Wands. So there's activity, there's a toward a goal, there's something that this young lady had in mind where she wanted to put her energies, align things up, and go toward goals in her life. She was very motivated in some way. And I believe she may have had dreams of some sort, who knows, because these are also wands, these are creative energies many times. Maybe she could sing, maybe she had something, who knows, an ability, a talent, a gift that was creative that she'd hoped to be recognized for. But was having a challenge to, I think, get the support or some such thing. Where in the past, this basis, she had that support. Okay? Now, let's look in her direct recent past. This star. I think she went through a lot of dark nights of the soul, where she really clung to hope. I think she did have some problems with depression and numbness and anxiety. And I think she really clung to a spiritual kind of, and not necessarily of any orthodox kind, but of a hope and a basic belief to get her through that. I think there was also at one point in her life a degree of popularity among peers, further back before whatever happened to her. There's a popularity here with the star and the Six of Rods, this recognition, the Three of Cups, Ace of Cups. Now let's just look at that. A lot of activity here too, crowning her. Now for the quote-unquote what would have been the recent future, Seven of Cups. This could most definitely be, and let me just shift to make sure you guys are able to see as best you can these cards. Okay. Can you see that one? Yeah, all right. So now you see the Seven of Cups, and the Seven of Cups is often an altered state or a confused state or an uncertain state of choice, of reality, of making your dreams manifest sometimes, making a choice. It can also be about being drugged and really being out of it. Not like blackout drunk, blackout drugged. Because there was a high amount of Thorazine in her remains. And mind you, her remains were not found, I think, till some time later. Let me just glance real quick at my notes. But there were drugs, like I said, Thorazine, found in her system. And this would also perhaps indicate the use of a substance, a liquid substance injection. All right. Okay. I just want to check something with this. I also get a sense that she was there was a certain aspect that comes into her case of someone, either herself or the person that did this to her, becoming bored. They're very callous, and they want to liven things up a bit. Could also go in some ways towards her as a teenager, toward being bored with wherever she was, possibly at times running away, or not being, if she was being fostered or anything like that. You can understand a lot of kids get suffer abuse and don't stay there. So we have a lot to look at and give consideration to. I'm just wanting to see. I feel like she, at some point, comes across a very controlling, perhaps this is the predator that sees her out there, or offers her help, so on and so forth, and looks at her as now a possession that they can do with what they want. And that could also be the attitude of a serial killer, so finding a vulnerable person. Okay, so this could have been a group of people she got with or hung out with that she thought that she was okay with. But I tend to think that this here was something that had changed, and she just wanted to get out from where she was. But I see her being drugged, and I feel like this is kind of pushed on her. Okay, so let's just look at these other cards. In her attitude, she has the Five of Rods, which is she's combative. There's a fight going on. Sorry, that's my stomach now rumbling. There is a actual fight going on. She is recognizing that she is having to try to fight someone from, I think, giving her perhaps that drug or anything else that they did and what they did. She was found bound, so with surgical tape, which is very strange. In her environment is the Four of Cups. Gotten this before. Again, we're going towards someone who is in the environment that is a very callous, cold individual, has trouble. I got this before. Emotionally connecting to other people, never satisfied. Doesn't look at always as other people with any empathy. There's a detachment, a disassociation. They disassociate when they do harm to people. And I feel like this is someone in her environment who does harm to her and is somehow able to give her this drug or take advantage of her after she's been given this drug in some capacity. Yeah, I don't know that this is something she willingly took herself, but I can't be sure if she was in some kind of hospital environment. So many questions. Okay. In her hopes and fears is the Queen of Swords. And I do believe I did get a Queen of Swords there too. And this person was in the last reading, not recorded that I did, but written down here in my journal. I did get a very, what seemed like a cold Queen of Swords, who may have been in some capacity not parole officer, but maybe involved in as some sort of a judge, or would have an effect on where she would be sent or how she was dealt with. Could be even a stepmother for all I know. I just cannot be sure. Usually they tend to be somebody in a professional capacity, but not always. I did get also, just to tie in with this reading, because this reminds me of, I felt like I was shown cards of the two of coins and an empress, and I felt like there was some issue with her mother, and I had wondered, I got kind of a curious notion of, was she a twin? Because I was shown two children, and this mother that was with the two of pentacles and struggling with these two children, and if she had some kind of behavioral problems or something with depression, and maybe this was a single mom that was not able to deal with her, especially maybe she's a chronic runaway. These are just all conjectures, just some ideas as possible. The end result is the Knight of Swords. And the Knight of Swords deals with a fast incoming energy that is usually hostile, usually aggressive, many times kind of in an ambush kind of way, and I believe she was drugged and attacked viciously by someone who, quite frankly, has some disconnect to seeing someone like her as anything but just a disposable person they can do this to, which is terrible. They I think even daydreamed of doing this sort of thing. I just don't think they have an empathic heart. There's a wire in them that's not connected. You're looking at someone like it's a narcissist and a malignant narcissist type of murdering person who's a sadistic person capable of great cruelty. This is, to me, the action. It could also be, as a court card, indicative of somebody into their age of in their 30s. Perhaps in this instance, I feel like it's a male, but the Wheel of Fortune as a clarifier comes up. And the Sun. So there is something yet to be revealed, because this is down the line. Maybe they need to go over something again. There is something about another cycle, something coming up that could, who knows these days, identify her. And there will be, I sure hope so. There's the Sun and clarity, and maybe there's the change, there's some progress. There's a Knight of Cups and Lovers. So this could be a tip that comes in, and it could have to do with someone that maybe used to date her. It could be looking at maybe two youths responsible for this. I don't know how the hell they would get Thorazine, but where there's a will, there's a way. I would tend to think it would have been somebody older, but don't forget, Knights can be kind of immature people in their 30s. But I've had it go up to the age of 35 just recently, and that was like, don't push it, bud. Don't push it. You should be an adult by now. But some people mature slowly. And this is another way that the cards have been kind of showing me the people that are those folks. Temperance and strength. So this is a case where someone, again, was, I believe, not, well, abusing their ability to control someone, to maybe this is somebody that worked in a hospital that she befriended, or and took an interest in her. And the fact that they sexually violated her, it just shows that someone, I think, if they were in that field and had access to those supplies, most people don't, it's sure sad, because it could have been that if she had run away, maybe she got put in treatment somewhere in juvie and someone took advantage of her. I just don't know. But that's what I'm getting. I would like to do yes and no's on, and I'll do that in the next series of readings, or the next reading, to say, was she from Puerto Rico? See if we can get a yes, no. Was she from Colombia? Yes, no. I might do that real quick right now. Okay, was this young lady referred to as Woodlawn Doe, was she of Puerto Rican heritage? Did her family come from Puerto Rico? Puerto Rico. Did they come from Puerto Rico? Okay. Puerto Rico. Was Jane Doe, Woodlawn Doe, was her family somehow from Puerto Rico? Yes, no. Let's look for a positive or a neg. 5 of rods. And that Queen of Swords. This could be possibly, but it looks like a woman that is a Queen of Swords. I don't know. This her mom? I don't know. Somebody that's really in conflict, in some state of conflict. I'm not going to look at that as a yes, because I would say it no. Okay, so was the other idea that she was from Colombia? See if we can get a yes, no. Was Woodlawn Doe from Colombia? Was Woodlawn Doe from Colombia? Was Woodlawn Doe, was she and her family from Colombia, as is theorized? Positive yes or negative no. Strength card, I'd say, is a yes, as a good possible. Let's see if we can get another one. 2 knights. Well, not 2 knights, but he kind of looks like a knight that they've used in this strength card. Usually I see a woman, but this is, by the way, the Aquarian Tarot, and it's a smaller size. It comes in a nice tin, so I really like that. You know what? I'm going to say that there is a nod perhaps to Colombia. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But I'm asking for a set of positive or negative yes, no responses, and I feel like these all feel very positive. That she could have come from Colombia. This could even indicate some kind of close relationship. Looking for a better life. Having gone through difficulty. Okay. So I think she could have actually been possibly from Colombia. That could be true. And I just don't get, she had family. The rumor was she had family. What happened to her family? What happened to Woodlawn Doe's family? Did they ever really look for her? You know, these families tend to be a lot more passionate, I mean, you know, not to brush everyone with a stereotypical broad stroke, but tend to be more family oriented. So what was going on? Now, if my first reading is correct and she had a single mom or ended up with a single mom, something then may have put her at risk. But let's just see. Okay. Did she have a family that looked for her? And does she have a family that's been looking for her? Woodlawn Doe. Okay, Hermit. There's a feeling again to me like maybe she had a tendency to wander, to like to explore, to like to do her own thing. She would have a very independent spirit. I really hope I don't see cards that indicate. Sometimes the Hierophant card can be the pedo card, but this is covering her, and I am asking about family. So maybe, hopefully this wasn't somebody problematic in her environment. It could also be her just wanting to go off and explore, a little naive to the world around her. Yes, again we are given a nod with the nine of Pentacles to the issue of struggling to have independence, you know, to live your own life, make your own rules, be your own person, live your own way. Perhaps there was a generational also cultural problem that can happen, where I know, like my mom was, well, I'm actually first. My brother and I are first generation born here, but she came here to the States very young. And there's sometimes a cultural thing where there is a difference that between generations, and where one isn't going to keep to doing everything their parents tells them. They want to explore, they want to spread their wings, many times want to grow up too fast, and they don't realize how much the lack of experience that they don't have, how crucial that is for their discernment of danger in their own well-being many times. Okay? So, okay, here we have the Hierophant as a basis card. And I'm feeling like this is very traditional man that lays down the rules. It could also go to a religious figure. She is crowned by the Nine of Rods. Yes, she finds this person in her family walling her in, making her feel like she has to have her defenses up. And with that Hermit, maybe he is somebody that is taking advantage of an authority that he has in her life as someone who could be a professional, a doctor. Let's just keep going here. There's loss in this girl's life prior to her situation. I think she lost members of family, key members of family. And she still had maybe a few, but it looks to me like there was some kind of significant loss that she mourned, that she was really depressed over, in deep grief. Okay. I think at some point with family, because that's what I'm asking about in this reading, she decided to, I think, make some secret plans and keep it to herself. And I think she looked within her own feelings with regard to her environment and decided, I think, that she wanted to be independent, to be able to explore. This, I believe, happened in the 70s, so there's a lot of hitchhiking going on. There's many times kids are put in foster care that end up having problems, or where parents can't take care of them or other relatives. The devil. Okay, she is aware that in her environment there is an oppressive, dangerous, disordered person in control of her well-being. Very hard to get away from them. If she was in an institution of some kind, or let's say even she had run away and this person had agreed to help her, and then, like so many of these guys do, trap them and control them and do horrible things. I see that in her awareness, and I see that in her awareness there is something not right here. There is something that is happening that is evil, an evil that is going on, that is not right, that is not fair. where someone is abusing their power. And it does have a connection to that. It is their work environment. Someone that, yes, this Eight of Pentacles makes me feel like they were some kind of novice or apprentice in some field, perhaps to do with mental health facilities or care facility or hospitals, some such juvenile, I don't know. So then let's look at the hopes and fears card for her was the Knight of Swords. I think this was her wanting to get away very quickly or get word very quickly about what was going on with her situation of someone isolating her, someone cutting her off and controlling her for their own whims. And a certain loss in her life, I think, affected her self-esteem, also created the challenge of wanting to become more independent, wanting to explore, but feeling like she didn't have the opportunity, or feeling like she was being prevented, and feeling very closed in and controlled. And the final end result is the Three of Pentacles. And I do think that she was connected to an institution of some kind. You know, this involves more than one person. There are efforts of more than one person that go into the sustaining and the running of things, of a business or a goal. Let's look for clarification. We get a King of Swords. It is just cruel. Okay, there is an adult here that is just cruel. He is cold. He is calculating. I'm not sure if he's the one that did this to her, or if he would be just the authority that says just get rid of her. Dump her. Leave her. And this has to be kept a secret. From the rest of the world, from that getting out. But there's also a choice with that. There's a choice in keeping it a secret for somebody. This will be a really long upload. A few more. What does she want to tell us? Justice has been delayed for her. Justice has been delayed for her. They need to look at, I think this is her. She could be a water sign or a prominent water sign. Traits, personality. She would have been a teenager or a very young adult. And I believe she was looking to, she was probably had a reputation for running away. She wanted to expand her horizons, a bit more rebellious and a bit more proactively rebellious. Not a bad kid, but troubled. And I think that she suffered from anxiety and depression, and feeling trapped, and I think in places where she probably really wasn't getting much help, and then somebody victimizes her. And she deserves justice. Here is the loss again. And that loss is a clue. There were potentially three other people, or she had come from a place of loss and had great hope. So I do think she probably came from another country, or had experienced a recent hardship in her family, where there is emotional loss. That's pretty devastating. And all is not completely without hope, but it is such a powerful loss. So she's going through a very hard time. Here with that dark night of the soul. And maybe that's what put her into some sort of getting in a treatment facility. Ten of Pentacles could be that kind of like institution. I've gotten that before. And it can also be indicative of family. And Chariot. And I'm feeling like there's movement, someplace maybe even an out of state, out of country. I don't know, somehow there's a delay, and I feel like this gets covered up by an institution, potentially too, just like writing right over the top of it. Yes, this was about a man's pleasure. Yes. And the pleasure in being able to abuse his power. Totally inappropriate, and I think to take advantage of those who put their trust in him for help. Yeah, there's a certain naive. I feel like these people don't realize they're going to be drugged and kidnapped or restrained. There's something a little extra in whatever their social interaction is with this person that they're not expecting. And it puts them on a defense. And I keep seeing it's younger people, so I think this person, whoever the perp was, had an attraction for people in their teens and early 20s, or who had a more youthful look and mindset that they could prey upon. They totally betrayed them. They gained their trust, and I see they betrayed them. And this family of hers was, I have no doubt, heartbroken. So I'm going to leave that there just as a prelim for Woodlawn Doe. I will include, after I upload, some links in the description box for her case, in case you're curious. And I will also include the name of this deck, which is the Aquarian Tarot, but it comes in a 10. This is not just the large box type. It is a little bit smaller travel type that comes in a box. So, see? Really good thing. So, that's it for today. And next time I'm going to do, I believe, a reading on the guy Don Jr. Okay? Alright. I'll put a closed pig over my spiritual nose and look at his icky, icky energy. Alright. So thank you so much if you've subscribed. If you haven't, please do. And please be so kind as to hit the thumbs up. And if you feel like it, leave a comment, leave a request. Always be polite. Kindness doesn't cost you a thing. Thank you so much. And I hope you have a great day. And take care.